Friday morning, early April, and just got back. Got this pretty large Commodore collection that I bought from somebody on OfferUp. Really good score. Usually come across these kinds of collections once, maybe twice a year, and already, yeah, just in first quarter here, well, going into second quarter now, I suppose. But yeah, I've already had like two really good major scores of like vintage computers, and also recently bought, I can't remember if I've talked about this in any videos or not, but this lot of like audio and video electronics, bunch of stuff that a friend of mine who runs a AV company needed to get rid of and needed to sell off in bulk. So already made pretty good profit on those items as well. So a bunch of stuff going on around here. There's like three things I wanted to make videos about today. I need to do a scrapyard run real bad just to make some space around here, for one thing. And then I need to start taking these electronics down to the basement. I need to clear some space down there, and then I need to start going through this Commodore stuff, which is what I'm going to be doing in this video. I just took a peek in these boxes when I bought the stuff from the guy, so this will be the first time I'm going through this. Should be some like pretty good stuff in here. I have like $400 into the slot. He was asking for $500, and ended up getting it for $400. Which is good because some of the items that were listed in the ad, he didn't actually have. So still totally worth it though. And yeah, should be some interesting items in here. Well, I got myself some room to work with here. Got all those electronics down in the basement, which involved actually clearing a spot for them down there. So that was a pretty involved job. Got these three Dells here, these Dell towers that not sure what I'm going to do with yet, if I'm going to mess around with them, try to sell them, or keep one for myself. The middle one is like well, it used to be a high-end workstation, so I might put Linux on it and play around with it or something, or maybe try to sell it, or I might just end up scrapping them all. There's a box there of 8-track cassettes, 8-track cartridges that I bought at a flea market a few days ago, and want to make a video about that. And also, there's a little sneak preview of another video that's going to be coming up there. But yeah, let's get to it, start going through some of this Commodore stuff. Let's start with the 64 itself. I guess there's only one computer included with this lot. Again, I was kind of disappointed that the ad read a little differently than what I ended up getting. Yeah, right away I can see this one's well used. Looks like there used to be a sticker on the case there, and the badge has come off, which is not really a big deal on itself. That can be re-glued fairly easily. So supposedly this works. Looks like we might have some documentation down there. Looks like all the keys are there. We don't have the original power supply, which is not really a bad thing. Those things are actually terrible and nobody actually uses them. I should probably check to see if it's a 5-pin video or an 8-pin video machine here. So let me pop it out of the styrofoam real quick. I don't need to really take it out of the styrofoam, but yeah, it's an 8-pin video. So later, Commodore 64. If that works and has a working SID chip, then that'll be a pretty quick cleanup job. I disassemble these and completely clean them out and clean the keyboards, and I'll probably make a video on how to clean the keyboards on these at some point. Box is in very nice shape. I would have thought the computer itself would have been in better shape from the looks of that box. Looks like it was pretty well used. Okay, next we have 1541 floppy disk. This will have to get tested. This is cool though. This is actually a really early version of this. This is a VIC 1541, and this has the older color scheme that was designed to go with the VIC 20. So this is definitely a nice score if this works. And looks to be in pretty good shape. Looks like The protective plastic is still on the metal badge here, so that's a real nice sign. I see some little scuffs and scratches, but nothing too bad. Sometimes these drives will have what they call cable rash, which is like an effect that you get from people storing their cables improperly, like on these plastic cases. That might actually be what this little mark is here. Very small mark. That could just be a scratch or a scuff though too. But what'll happen is a chemical reaction occurs with the insulation on these cables and the plastic that they use on these cases, and it actually digs, like it looks like a burn from like a soldering iron or something like that into the plastic, and pretty nasty. There's probably a way to fix that and restore it, but I wouldn't have a clue how to do that. So that'll be kind of fun to play around with and test. That's cool that it's the older version of that 1541. That'll be a very easy, quick sale if and when I do decide to sell this. This is a Commodore 1541 disk drive. This is designed to work with a Commodore 128 computer, which I don't have. I actually do have a working board, a working C128 board right now, but I don't have a keyboard to go with it, or a full case. I have like half of a case. This is 1571. I see some scuffs and scratches. Nothing to worry about too much. It appears to be in order. Something going on here. It's like a paper clip or a piece of metal stuck in there, something in that vent. I'll address that later. Always a fair amount of work that goes into this stuff, but that's just part of the game. Part of the game, part of the process. Just about everything I sell gets opened up and gone throughout here and cleaned with canned air, and I test everything that I can. Anything that I can't test gets sold for like parts or repair or recycled. Oh, there is a manual for the disk drive there. Pretty cool. Missed that. Okay, I'm going to start digging into these boxes, and I'm going to start with the big one first. Put the camera down for a second. Alright, some cool stuff. We got a monitor, either a 1702 or a 1701 monitor. Hopefully that works, because that's going to be terrible to have to deal with if it doesn't. This item is very cool. It's a metal like case for a Commodore 64 with like a platform on the top that you can put the monitor on. And boy, I hope the keys are in there. I forgot to ask them. There's a way to lock the computer inside for like security reasons. I think they use these in like schools and stuff. And I've got some software here that probably should not be anywhere near a CRT video computer monitor. So these discs could very well possibly be damaged. So yeah, some cool vintage video games here. Knock them over and damage them further. Okay, Microprose Silent Service. This is a dual disc for Atari or Commodore 64. So it has the Atari program on one side and the Commodore program on the other. Airborne Ranger, another Microprose game. Auto Duel, I've never played this, but this looks like a fun one. From Origin Systems. Kind of cool there. Battle Chess, nice. I know this is a popular game, I've never played it, but it's probably a good score there. Mind Roll. Hacker 2, I've sold one of these before, box, and I want to say I got pretty good money for that one. That might be like kind of a semi-rare game. There's some damage there, some crush damage on the box there. Nothing too bad. It's cool to get some more Commodore software, because my shelves of Commodore games and software have been rapidly depleting. So it's going to be nice to go through these and test them and start replenishing those shelves, because these are good, solid sellers. Looks like we just got more packing material in here. Yeah, it's packing material to protect the monitor. It looks like this stuff was packed up for a move because all the boxes are labeled like man cave, and I think one of the other ones was labeled something else. All right, so let's close up this box. Really hope that monitor works. That metal stand or enclosure or whatever you want to call it. It's cool score. That's a pretty rare item. I've definitely never seen one. I was talking to my wife about this deal this morning, and we figured I've been buying collections of Commodore stuff for over 20 years, which is just amazing when you think about it. I always think that these kind of scores are just going to dry up and go away eventually, but you know, pretty consistently, like once or twice a year, like I've managed to find one of these collections and get a really good deal on it. You know, this one wasn't quite as good as, I mean, I've had some crazy deals, of course, over the years, but yeah, if there would have been the broken computers that he said was in the lot in the ad. There was supposed to be a broken C128 and a couple of broken Commodore 64s, but I guess he had gotten rid of those already, he said, when he was in Michigan. So I don't know. He must have just moved here, and maybe because it was on the Peoria offer up, so maybe he just had the ad copy written when he was living in Michigan, and then just cut and pasted the text when he took out the ad and the offer up in Peoria when he moved. I don't know. So here's a cassette bonus pack. If I remember correctly, was this included with like the purchase of a data set or purchase of a Commodore 64? I had one when I was a kid. We bought one new in 1984. This was not included with it. I think there was no software included with the actual computer itself. The first disc I had actually came with the 1541 disk drive, so I wonder if these cassettes were included with the purchase of a data set. Anyway, that looks nice. Nothing to write home about there. Very nice book here, compute book on programming, mapping the Commodore 128. This will sell very quickly, I'm sure. Not an easy book to find. All right, what else we got? Bmx Trials by Gameware. This is just a low dollar budget item. I'll make a couple of bucks on that. Another budget software item here. BC's Quest for Tires. Is this both of the games possibly? Yeah, two classics in one package. So yeah, BC's Quest for Tires and BC2. This game piqued my interest. I didn't even know this existed. It's an Epix game, Revenge of Defender. So yeah, sequel to Defender that was published by Epix. Yeah, I missed this one completely somehow. So looks like a pretty cool shooter. Don't know. That should be a fun one to test. Never play video games anymore. I used to be pretty into it. The only time I ever play video games anymore is to test them to sell. One Man and His Droid. I think this is a pretty popular game. Another Gameware 2-in-1 pack. I might lot up these. There goes the Defender box. I might lot these Gameware boxes up. It might be a good bundle to make. Mastertronic. This is also like some kind of budget, sort of budgetware items, but still good for a couple bucks. Family Feud. Yeah, definitely not finding any gold in here, but I'm not giving up yet. Some more budget items here. Another Gameware budget title. Threshold and Frogger. See those a lot. That is the opposite of rare right there. Wheel of Fortune. A couple more Gameware titles. Wing Commander. I might have one of these in stock still, or maybe I just sold it. I remember seeing that recently. It's not to be confused with the Wing Commander PC game. Totally different game. Another 2-in-1 pack. So yeah, I bet I will just make like a big GameWare lot with those 2-in-1s. Some more budget stuff here. Concentration. Skate Rock. This might be kind of good. Affordable fun. Another budget title. Sargon 2. Popular chess game. Nothing ground shaking there, I don't think. Magic Desk. This is a pretty nice cartridge. This should do pretty well on eBay if the cartridge and the manual and everything is in there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's a pretty good score. Spy vs. Spy. This might be a pretty good title here. This looks like the original release. Possibly, I'm not sure. First Star Software. Cool, very cool. Got a crushed box here. Maybe the disc is in there. Oh yeah, disc is in there. Might be able to reform that box a little bit. This TimeWorks software is nothing really to write home about, but pretty good sellers whenever I get it. The TimeWorks stuff always sells. This is pretty popular productivity software for the Commodore 128. That's actually for the 64. That's for the 128 there. Sideways, that goes with spreadsheet software. So yeah, that would go with Data Manager maybe. That's not really a spreadsheet, that's like a database, but I might sell all this TimeWorks stuff as a lot. More TimeWorks productivity stuff, personal finance. So not a lot of mind-blowing games. Nice clean Dig Dug cartridge there. Not a lot of people know that Atari actually made software for Commodore computers and other computers that it competed against at the time. A totally different division of the company. A bunch of floppy disks. Looks like a lot of originals here. I'm not going to bore you with everything. There's the terminal program that goes with the AppRotect modem that I believe is in here. A lot of that stuff will probably go as a lot. Some more interesting games here. Got some Electronic Arts and saw an Infocom disc in here. Yeah, some pretty good stuff. Yeah, some more Electronic Arts. Might and Magic 2. This is a popular role-playing game. Yeah, so there's some here's some better items here. Yeah, old Epic's AppShy software. That's like Dungeons and Dragons type role-playing software. Those two discs will probably like sell as one item. It looks like a copy, but it might actually be an original. And back to the educational and low budget titles that will all sell as a lot together. Nothing interesting. I wish the boxes for the Infocom and the EA stuff were there. Maybe they're in one of these other boxes somewhere. Some more familiar looking stuff here. Newsroom. Life Force. That's a pretty good title. No box. But that's still nice to have the manual on disc like that. That's not a bad little score there. Some loose discs and manuals here. Oh yeah, that's the disc with the manual, disc with manual. Okay, yeah, some good solid items here. A lot of GEOS 128 stuff. GEOS 128 version 2, that's cool to have. along with the software. That'll all sell together. I'll put all the Geo stuff together. I'm running out of space here on my table. Oh, this is nice. This is a nice score. Elite. That'll sell. Last one of these I had sold for at least $50 free shipping. Might have been more if this has the map and all that stuff in it. That's a real nice score right there. That'll go a long way towards getting my $400 back. This is another good one here too. Planetfall. Some of this original Infocom stuff goes for pretty good money on eBay. I'm not gonna. It's gonna take forever if I go through every single item here, but just gonna look through here. It's kind of an interesting one. Pole position disc, Thunder Mountain version. Can't say I've actually ever seen that before. Original. All this other stuff is pretty common. This might be something here. Final Assault. I'm not sure. Probably not. That's probably just a pretty common Epix game. Here's an old printer ribbon. I have to look that up. Here's another nice programming book, memory map for the Commodore 64. It's fun going through these lots. I have to admit, I'm still trying to decode what I have received versus what I read about in the ad and what I talked to him about on OfferUp. Because he also mentioned that he had a bunch of magazines and programming books. So far I've only seen 2 books and I haven't seen any magazines. Here we have some accessories, some joysticks. Most of these probably won't even work. Like things like these Point Masters are pretty much near worthless, but they might be able to go with some stuff in a lot. Power lock. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's got like a key that goes with it. This might have something to do with the that metal security enclosure for the Commodore 64 that was in that other box. Some audio cables, some phone cables. Got a printer down there, small one, MPS 803. I should be able to test that. I guess printer parts, like, okay, and power supply. Can't really sell. Those things are kind of like ticking time bombs. They have like really bad old components in them that fail, and when they do fail, they have a tendency to take out chips on the motherboard, so it's kind of bad news. These cables are nice to find. They go from the output of a Commodore 128, the video output, to the video input of a Commodore monitor or other compatible monitor. So that's kind of a rare cable to find. Looks like one of the pins might be damaged on that. Might still be able to work. Oh, I forgot this binder. What is this? Hessware binder. Oh, multi-plan. That's kind of cool. This should be a nice seller. Original Microsoft multi-plan for the Commodore 64. This is the Hessware version. I think this got released under a couple of different publishers. Yeah, and it's got the little card here, little cheat sheet. Nice manual, a nice binder here. A little bit of dirt or cat hair or something in there. With the overlay. So this is the precursor to Microsoft Excel. If anyone's wondering, this is a spreadsheet program that ran on 8-bit microcomputers of the day by Microsoft. So that's a nice little piece right there. That's pretty cool. Let's see these books here. There's 2 of these. Kind of cool. Oh yeah, machine language programming. So yeah, those books should sell pretty well. Okay, last box. Last box. It was fun while it lasted. Here we have some Electronic Arts Gatefold games. Those are always nice to find. These vary in value and rarity. Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer there. Ace of Aces, that's actually Accolade Gatefold game. They call these Gatefold covers because they're like the Gatefold album covers that were popular in the 70s. Kind of cool way to package software. I always thought this was cool when I was a kid. Gatefold, and a place to put your disc and your manual. Your manuals go in there on the sides, maps and stuff, and then like little information about the programmers and stuff that has to do with the game. Mail Order Monsters, another EA Gatefold game. Another Computes 128 book, very cool. Imagine it's a lot harder to find the programming books for the 128 than for the 64. Nobody actually programmed a lot of software for the 128, unfortunately. Some more public domain games, discs. I remember seeing these things were really cheap in the computer stores back in the 80s. Kind of like impulse buy items. These little like disc compilations of public domain stuff. Another Gatefold game is from another totally different company called GameStar. But yeah, a couple other companies kind of copied the popularity of the Gatefold format that I think EA pioneered. Starring Boxing, that's a pretty standard title there. I should make a couple of bucks on it. Check out the mustache on that guy. These are the kinds of people that made video games in the 80s. Some more Commodore public domain stuff. This will probably all get put together and sold as a lot. How many times have I said that? There's a little computer history here. Fortunately, it probably won't be anything I could probably sell, but it's just somebody's home printouts of instruction manuals from the 1980s, probably printed on that printer that we were looking at in that other box. Manual for Ultra Font Plus. Looks like a directory listing. Servant. Okay, so yeah, this guy probably had a Servant ROM installed in that 128. I really wish that would have been part of the deal, because down here, I don't know if you can see it, there is a Commodore 128 in half of the case with a working board in it and a keyboard with about 20 keys missing from it, and they're all like really badly yellowed, although I could probably actually fix that. Yeah, that about wraps it up, guys. Oh yeah, this is another nice score, 1351 mouse. So if this works, this should be, oh yeah, it's missing the ball. He did say that. Yeah, that is a major bummer. I don't know if I can find that part. Otherwise, this would easily be like $50 item, $50 item. Some more GEOS 2 stuff, manuals, C64 manual, the 1541 manuals, box of discs, random discs, some more public domain software, some more budget games. It's GEOS 2 for the 64. That's kind of nice. Yeah, and this Mach 5 in the box. I'd say all in all, that was a pretty cool score. Like I said, would have been nice if the magazines and the other computers that he mentioned, the broken computers, would have been included, but all in, I'm pretty happy with this. There's another box here, another box of floppies. Tandy thing there. All right, that's it. Kind of a different type of video, but hopefully any of you out there that are interested in old vintage electronics or computers, or just selling old stuff on eBay in general, might have found this interesting, I hope. So thanks for watching.